Okay, folks, so the Democratic Socialists of America are in the red right now by 7 figures, and they're going to have to cut staff enormously. So they're kind of having to do this just like the rest of capitalist America right now, who they claim to criticize for doing just that, laying people off. Well, now the Democratic Socialists of America are going to have to lay a whole bunch of people off. One thing that didn't help was being so radical that they ended up supporting all these from the rivers to the sea movement by the Free Palestine movement, issuing statements that the Jews should be genocided and or deleted, should we say that? And that didn't help their cause either. So now they're in the red. See, Harvard can weather that storm because they have $50 billion in endowments. Not so for the Democratic Socialists of America, who also is a union. And even that's not going to help. So this is kind of an interesting statement on this. These people say here, communism and slash socialism is and always has been a form of utopian idealism. The generally bizarre and childlike belief that if only everyone worked together in some way, we could transcend the issues that have plagued humanity from its earliest days and enter into a global land of milk and honey. It sounds wonderful when you're 20 years old, right? Not so when you're in the red, where things will be fair for everyone and there won't be any worries for anybody ever again. Of course, the problem of seeking your utopia is that it misunderstands the concept. A utopia is, by its original definition, a non-existent place, something that is impossible to achieve. After all, when St. Thomas More coined the word for his work, utopia, he created it by smushing together the Greek prefix ou, ou, but we call it you, meaning not, and topos, meaning place, with the suffix ia to make up what he meant to be nowhere or no place. Utopia is a nice idea, but it's a fantasy and simply doesn't exist. Thank you, Thomas More, for actually making that clear. And I have a feeling a lot of so-called utopians from the socialist mindsets and communist mindsets, I have a feeling they haven't read that, okay? Or they haven't explored what that actually means. So this is the hard truth for the Democratic Socialists of America, are apparently facing down the mob these days as they find out that idealism, as it turns out, does not, in fact, pay the bills. They still have to pay the bills like everybody else. And that's when the dream crumbles and reality sets in, that real equity and real equality, the type they talk about, the part they never tell you about is equity and equality under socialism means not that we'll all be living well, not that we'll be living in middle class with nice apartments in Denmark or something. No, we'll all equally be living in gutters. We'll all equally be living under bridges. That's the part they never mention. So yes, it will be diverse and inclusive, but it will still be living under a bridge. And so the dream dies, and the dream dies quickly when the economy in a capitalist free market society goes on the downturn. Socialism doesn't sound so great at that point. So according to the article from the New York Post, the DSA is deep in a 7-figure hole and looking for a way to climb back out, starting with plans to cut $500,000 from staff-related expenses, which begs the question of exactly how much does being a professional anti-Israel demonstration coordinator and all-around pinko rabble-rouser pay these days? You would think they'd be doing it gratuit, for free, to show their commitment to the cause, but even avowed commies have a mortgage, it seems. Matthew Harrison says, every 18 months or so, a headline comes across that makes me dance a jig in my living room. This is the one for this 18-month period, delicious beyond words. Steve says, couldn't happen to a nicer collection of classless anti-Semitic clowns. We will then explore initiating layoffs according to the DSA union's contract. Yes, they are a union. Poetically, they are stuck with a union contract. Because of course they have that. And all the problems with increased stickiness in wages that goes along with that. But that's a theory from actual economics, well, Keynesian economics, not Mao's Little Red Book or whatever book that they probably haven't read, most likely. I'm sure they haven't. So let's go look at this. So this is the actual article itself from the New York Post. Yep, they may have to, yes, they may force these dreaded layoffs. No, they'll have to. I don't think that's a may anymore. They're going to have to do this. So their financial situation is pretty dire. And when you support River to the Sea and you say, basically genocide Jews, it's not going to help your bottom line either. I'll just say, like, just basic lemonade stand economics, that's not going to help your cause, okay? And people are going to stop giving you money at that point. And you spent so much damn money on this. You just went so radical with your utopian vision that you ended up going full circle and you started supporting genocide. And the next thing you know, too, you're financially up a creek. So DSA is in a financial crisis. The staff-related costs account for 58% of our total expenditures and 72% of our projected income, wrote DSA members Alex Polidori, Kristen Schall, and Laura Wadlin in the cost-cutting proposal. The current deficit will force us to make seven-figure budget cuts. This will require us to make painful decisions that will impact all levels of the organization. Given our current financial state, we do not believe we can have a healthy, democratic, and effective organization while spending the amount we currently do on staff. Yada, yada, yada. Progressive Jewish activists are blaming DSA leaders who blindly back Palestinian groups, at least partly for the fiscal crisis, saying they have damaged the group's credibility and lost support. Yes, you go so extreme that you end up supporting a group of people that just want to see an entire other group of people annihilated. That's not good business. Poor marketing. And it doesn't really seem to me, it does not appear diverse and inclusive, which I'm sure these are those type of people. Like the first people who want supposedly everybody to be equal, on equal ground, financially, economically, would be socialists. But again, the irony is these socialists who want everybody to be equal on equal ground are supporting a movement that wants the annihilation and extermination of an entire ethnic group. That doesn't sound very socialist or equitable or diverse. That sounds like you want everybody to be just like you, not diverse. So after the Hamas's invasion of Israel, DSA doubled down their strategy of going deep and long on anti-Semitism, thinking it might get them out of the hole. Instead, this depraved idea dug them even deeper. Yes, they were already in a hole, obviously. So, in any case, that's kind of the course that they've decided to take with this. And I'll tell you what, when push comes to shove, you still live in a free market system. And I have a feeling all these people, most of their apartments are probably decorated with junk from Amazon or Overstock.com or Wayfair, who have all made their empires built on capitalism. And those iPhones that they carry around and all the paraphernalia and equipment that they've bought from Office Depot, yeah, that's capitalism that made that possible, folks. Why do they need money? Sounds so capitalist-y. Isn't communism in essence state-mandated bankruptcy? Mission achieved or mission failed successfully. So wait a minute, the socialists aren't willing to donate their labor for the cause? Of course not. Socialists are supposed to be on equal ground. We donate our time. I'm not really confident in their commitment to their own cause because I'm like, why don't you do it for free? If you're socialists, you're always spouting how everybody should be equal and there shouldn't be people with more money and there shouldn't be this inequality. But they don't want to tell you that part. To run an organization, you got to have some money and you got to have some assets. From morally bankrupt to plain old bankrupt, all they have to do is share what they have and it'll all work out fine, or so I've heard. Doesn't work. Whatever happened to that? Didn't work as well in practice as it looked like on paper, huh? Yeah. As myriads of groups of people and countries have shown us, time and time and time again, socialism on a massive central planning scale is a disaster. And the effects on large populations are usually that a significant amount end up dying thanks to government policies. Or simply the government goes after their own people and chucks them into prison or executes them. I wonder how many members of the Personnel Committee are going to be laid off. My bet, none. How could anybody see that aligning yourself with the most barbaric savages on earth would have a negative PR value? I don't know. Well, you're not going to weather the storm probably like Harvard will, but I don't know. I don't know if I wish you any luck. I mean, you kind of decided to take this route. So I just pray for you that, I don't know, maybe see the light and realize that socialism is really kind of like frosting on a turd. It's kind of sweet a little bit, but if you take a bite, put your fork in it, it's going to be a pile of shit. So anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.